back to Peterson Auto. Been a long time, really has. We've had a lot going on. A lot of projects that came up last minute needed to be done now and I couldn't get a video on. We had winter, obviously. Winter sucks. Cold, snow, can't really do anything outside. A little bit of a change in employment for me. Still kept the same company, but moved to a different position with a little longer hours. And it took me a little bit to get used to that. But we are back. Quarantine is doing us very good here. Got a lot done. And we're going to give you an update on what's going on right now. You're looking at the good old 88 Project ET360 swap here. And you can see it's got a somewhat functioning suspension now. You know, everything's bolted in, mocked up, and need to get a couple more bolts. Need a couple more 9/16 bolts up here. They're getting kind of hard to find. And then I need to pull this bag out one more time, hog this hole out a little more to fit the fitting in. And the axle. Well, you can see there's one U-bolt in. Well, maybe you can see there's one U-bolt in. And it's not very well attached. There's no bolts, no nuts on it. So what's going on there? Well, I actually went ahead and changed up my wheel options slightly for a more dolly looking wheel, and we're going to be putting those on. Unfortunately, with the single rear wheel axle, it doesn't clear my bag setup because I designed it for the other wheel. Henceforth the problem. Well, a nice easy solution is a factory dolly rear axle for this. I actually have one over in the neighbor's garage, which you've seen some videos in there on the 96 actually. And the 97 actually. Yeah. But, so that axle's over there right now. I'm currently trying to find the right bearing puller to pull the bearings to rebuild the whole axle from ground up pretty much. We're going to have pretty much new bearings, new seals on everything. That way I know it's good to go. And then after that, it's going to roll right underneath here in place of this one. Fortunately, the other side still has a leaf spring. So, kind of have to have something to hold it up. You see this wonderful stand here I made. Got another one in the works. It's not the best, but it goes and it'll hold up the frame and get you a little better look on that actually. So there's my wonderful stand you can see. Not the best, not pretty, but it functions. It's holding up the frame. There's the actual locating pin that goes into a hole in the top of the stand there that Ford used originally. We have most of our plumbing done. Most of our airlines are in the area they need to be as far as I can right now. So I got a tank pressure, a rear bag pressure line, gonna have a front bag pressure line, which I have the in-cab section of that ran. The whole in-cab section's ran on that. But without knowing where the front bags are going and where the solenoids are going, there's not much I can do for that right now. We have our solenoids mounted here for the rear bags. We have a... can't remember which one's which. Oh, okay. One's fill and one's dump. I'd have to look under to see. There's a another line here tucked in. I think this one's the fill and this one's... no, this one's the fill because the line's coming up from the tank. So this one's the fill and then this one's the dump. I got a three-way switch and up, down, momentary switch that I'm going to use for that to control the bags. Very simple setup. Notice no front tank. I don't know if I've covered this before, so if I've covered it, sorry, I apologize. You know, but there's only so much I can remember. No front tank. So yes, the transfer case is getting in the way. I'm going to actually go with a tank mounted up here on the flatbed then when it's all said and done. And I'm going to connect the factory lines to it. So I'll still have two tanks. Rear tanks in and everything. Got a piece of 5/16 hose coming for that so I can hook that up. This engine doesn't need any fuel pump in the tank, so there's no real pressure there, so just some hose and clamps will do completely fine. This little line here is going to be for the bag pressure. I'm going to tie it into one of these here somewhere. Not 100% sure where, but it's going to be tied in. Runs up into the cab. That's about it for there. So you can see leaf spring still in. So that's the old setup as far as the suspension goes. And just a comparison for you quick, the new setup. Nice 4-link. 4-link was done out of 1/4-inch wall DOM tubing. We have some huge 3-inch wide bushings in here. There we go. Kind of see that? Yeah. And down here we have 3/4-inch thread heim joints, 7/8 thread something. They're big. They're real big. I think they're 3/4. They're definitely beefy, definitely heavy duty. I still left these loose because I'm gonna have a little bit of adjustment to do, I'm sure, at some point in time. But I got it roughly tuned in. Already cycled the suspension. I know, it's so close. It's real close here, real close. It will clear. So I'm not too worried about that. And I can always adjust a little more in or out of it based on where the link bars go. I think that top bar is going to go down in the front there. So this is not your typical 4-link suspension. And the reason behind it is we're looking at having something that is, how do I put it, more conducive to towing, I guess. I think I messed up that word, but it's more likely to work for a towing setup. When this particular setup here, I know it's wonky and it's weird, but I did all the math and the figures on it. It's going to actually lift the rear of the truck under acceleration. And what that's going to do is it's going to help plant the rear wheels and give you more traction, and it's going to transfer a little bit of the weight up into, like, your for example, if you got a trailer, it's going to transfer that trailer weight back, a little bit of it back to the trailer by lifting the trailer up. It's also going to go ahead, if you're on a flat load, on a flatbed here, you have just, I don't know, pallets of stone, say. That's going to go ahead and put even more force down on the ground on these rear wheels. So it's going to give you traction. If you watch a semi-truck pull off under heavy load, you'll see the rear end jerks up and then settles back down. And that's not just the torque. It's a little bit of the torque, but it's the way the suspension's designed. It's designed like that for towing. Without getting too far into it and running numbers, I think I've covered that pretty well. Into the interior quick, we have our wonderful state of disaster. I finally got that seat bolted in. Man, was that a pain in the rear. But you can see the pillar pod there with the air pressure gauge is going to be in that. We are working on the, wow, I brain farted that one. The gauge pod that's going to go on the top of the dash there. After that is done, I can put the dash back in. After the dash is back in, finish up a lot of the wiring, and we're going to be pretty good. Yeah, that's an airbag there. Might be a newer steering wheel going on this. I'm not 100% sure on it yet. Still messing around with the idea, but yeah, we might have a newer steering wheel going on it too. Other than that, that's pretty much basically it for the dually build. I got a lot of other stuff tied up, you know, little odds and ends, wiring and whatnot. That's the boring stuff, so we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to Peterson Auto.